It's showtime here on Wednesday morning. I'm excited to go back over some of the details from yesterday's meeting with ADRA. Just really excited about it. I think there's some really cool possibilities here. Yeah, I'll get to that in a little bit. I had a couple other updates. So the two um, the two companies, the two manufacturers that I've been in communication with, these are the Chinese manufacturers. They gave me quotes for two different products. One is the poker chips. I think I've been talking about those a little more often. The other is these dice. I think I introduced this idea yesterday. So I got a quote from Judy. Judy was like my hero last year when it came to finishing up my Pathfinder game. So it's cool to still be in touch with her and be thinking through some possibilities with Judy. Um, anyway, it's interesting to see that I think these prices are for a set of dice um, in a little plastic package. That's what I showed yesterday. I think I can show it right now. Yeah, it was really close to the last of our messages. Me and Judy. So yeah, it was this one. I think I did show this yesterday. So really simple packaging for an individual set of dice. I could slap a sticker on the back and call it good for branding. Anyway, I think the next thing after getting a quote like this is just check for some viability. Oh, I opened these. Yeah, I have these games to look through. I wonder if there's a way I can just close them all. This is related to the meeting we had yesterday. I just don't want to kill my computer. I feel like I might be doing that. Yeah, definitely stressing things out here. Wow. So I'll get rid of these. I can always come back to this. Those are all in the real-time category. Like I said, I'll circle back to that. I think the next thing to do is really just check for what is it, like market viability, profitability, because the whole idea here is to start building a stream of income that is pretty steady, that it's reliable, but that it's low maintenance. So here's one example. I'm curious about what the packaging is. I think this is actually a great. Okay, let's say what we're seeing here is, ooh, these are on sale for $5. So the question is, if we buy, X amount, could we make at least $1 per set, for example? So if Judy's going to be charging me 86 cents per set and I buy 5,000, let's check this. And then there's like the tariff and everything. So let's see. So 5,000 um, Just doing some really simple math here at first. 0.86. I think our tariffs, what are the current tariffs on China? Tariffs on China. Tariffs. August 2025, 54.9%. I just assume we should probably apply something like that. So we got 5,000 times, well, what's 50? I'll just do this on my phone. Times 0.86. So it's another 46 cents. So 86 plus 46 is 132, right? So $1.32 per set. I cannot afford $1.32 per set right now. We're just doing the math. So let's back this up. So this is just manufacturing cost, right? Okay, now you add shipping. Who knows what shipping is going to be? Let's add, I don't know, $1,500 or something. 5,000 sets of dice, that's going to be pretty heavy. I bought 1,000 copies of my game. I think that cost around $1,300 to ship. But that was like I mean, who knows how many, like if this is a pallet full or what. Because I imagine you can fit a lot of dice in a box. Anyway, so this is just manufacturing cost. Then just shot in the dark, let's add $1,200 for shipping. Oops. Okay, now let's figure out, let's see, so a set of these dice, 50 plus bought in the past month, so that's bad news for us. That's really bad news. I think that means that these are kind of like premium dice, maybe fancy kind of dice. I want something that has sold, I want an example of something that sold a lot in the past month. How about these? 100 in a month. Like maybe we need to go back out here. Dice set, I'll just say D&D. Oh, maybe I should say polyhedral. How do I sort this? By low to high price, right? Oh, this is pretty rough. No, let's do bestsellers. This is really what we're after. Single sets, though. Single sets don't seem to be doing well. Okay, this like super fancy 500 Duck D&D resin dice. You didn't see that coming. That there are Duck D&D resin dice that have sold. There are over 500 sold in the past month. You can get your little ducky inside of your dice. So 300. Okay, maybe this one. I think this one might be comparable. So 650, and they've sold 400 in the past month. So let me go back into some of this. I think Gemini might know a couple of things here. Where I think, let's see, Amazon. Let me try in here. This conversation might have gotten a little too big. Anyway, what I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of trying to do some super simple math to see if selling dice on Amazon could in any way be profitable. That's the question we're after right now. So Amazon, let's see. So FBA and Amazon warehousing fees. Can you tell me about those costs. So we're checking fulfilled by Amazon. The main deal is that it would be great not to have to touch the dice. That's the goal, right? That's heading toward, it's not going to be passive income exactly, but that's the goal, is trying to achieve really low maintenance. I don't want to say low effort, but that's kind of what it is. Low maintenance streams of income. So that's what we're checking right now. Okay. So I think I actually might have enough to really enough details to really get a fairly clear idea of what it would cost to fulfill by Amazon. Because what I also have is, I thought I had the weight. It doesn't look like I do. Wow, this is tiny. Oh yeah, like 20 games in a master carton. That's the thing. I think I'm gonna have to send it to something for repacking. I don't know if Amazon does it or not. It might. I'm not too sure. Because obviously, what? No, they'll just be in boxes. So I think it's 20 sets in a box. They do say carton here. Anyway, let me see how much a standard. I wonder if it says it. So this is I think the best comparison we have so far. Let me see how much this weighs. It doesn't say. Oh, 0.98 ounces. Okay. So now we have a little more information. 0.98 ounces. We'll assume it's a similar weight. Monthly storage. Oh, cubic feet? That's not going to help us. I don't know how much. Maybe, I don't know. How many cubic feet is a box with 20 sets of dice? That's a box with 20 sets of. Okay, where are we? Okay, so I know this is so small. I'll just open it. I don't want to spend too much time, but I'm suddenly kind of interested here just to really see what we can learn. Okay. So these are it looks like there are a few options here. Dice set, plastic tray. Oh, this was the plastic tray one. So that's the one where they're all set in this this kind of little box. This is the one with the bag. So let's see what the difference in price was. So the one in the little box was $1. So it's another 50 cents on top of that for tariffs. So the plastic bag is the same price as the more expensive dice in the tray before the tariff. Did I say that wrong? I think I did. So the cheaper version of the plastic bag is cheaper than the more expensive dice in the trays, in the plastic trays, before tariffs. So that seems important. But it's still over $1, which means, you know, that's a pretty hefty investment. I don't think I'm gonna. I would basically have to. Can you imagine having to find an investor for 5,000 sets of dice? Because what I'm doing is thinking about how. Maybe we should be taking notes here. So sheets. I'll work here in the chipsets one. Okay, so for 5,000 sets, it's 0.86 cents per set plus, I think it was 46 cents. So let me add, I don't know why I'm doing this. Okay, quantity, and then cost, tariff. Okay, so this is 0.46 cents. Shipping, no idea. I think are we doing this per set? I guess we should. So let's say 1,200 divided by 5,000. Oh, I guess I can be doing some formulas here. No, I'm not doing per set yet. Maybe I should. Maybe I should. So quantity should probably be over here somewhere on the right. We'll just do this. Okay, per set. So let's do some per set stuff. So it's, let's say, literally this is so I guess this would be equals 12,000 divided by this. Okay, so it's another 24 cents per. Then what I was trying to get at is how much. I wonder if I can ask Gemini. Okay, wait. So fulfilled by Amazon, fulfillment per unit. So this is not good. Small standard fee per unit is $3.22. Yeah, this is very bad news, I would say. So FBA is $3.22. Then there's storage. This is also going to be bad news. Storage. I don't know that I can estimate this. Wait, was it in? $20 games in a master carton. Material A equals B cardboard. I don't know. Okay, I need to get some. Maybe Gemini can do some really rough estimate. I will be right back. Okay. Yeah, so trying to make some progress here on estimating profitability. And I think I'll come back to this, but this by itself, fulfilled by Amazon fees, this is a killer because because they're selling for $650, and that's before being on sale. Like other yeah, there are other dice being sold for much less, but this I'm kind of thinking is comparable to this set, and just by itself we're already let's do a little sum over here. Let's do these. Nope, that's not right. Let's do this stuff. So 478. And this is not storage. Storage would be another. It's interesting that the timing matters. Per cubic foot per month. So this is not very much, like per unit cubic foot. So oh, I really don't want to do this. The main question would be then, oh no. Remember, this is supposed to be not very hands-on. So the main question would be, would it be worth having 5,000 sets of dice in my apartment? That's the true question here. Because again, my aim is that I'm doing something relatively hands-off, right? And to suddenly have to package and ship 5,000 sets of dice, that doesn't sound awesome. So I cannot believe it's $322 per unit. That's just crazy. So I really think like that by itself kills this idea. This is for Amazon. We could check Walmart. Remind me, what are the same details for Walmart? Fulfillment. Okay. You know what? I can work on this later. The point is, I have made some progress on kind of connecting with these companies and figuring out. Yeah, $345 per unit. Picking, packing, and shipping. Now, if they do. I knew the margins were going to be thin. I knew that. Am I going to be making $1 a set on dice? Probably not. But let me try to encourage myself here for a second. What if, I know the math is very simple, but I'm just going to do it here for the record. So what if I made 25 cents on 5,000 sets? It's $1,200. $1,250. That is almost a month's rent. So if I can do that, then if I can make 25 cents on 5,000 sets of dice, 25 cents each, then awesome. That's almost a month's rent. And if I can do that with a couple of emails to set things up, and then dealing with like some customer service headaches, if I can do that for a month's rent, that's not bad. I mean, really, that's not bad. Now, what about 45? Well, 50 cents. I mean, that's $2,500. This is, of course, before tax, too. So, yeah, I would want to make at least 50 cents. 50 cents per unit. Is that asking too much? You estimate, I'm just curious, a margin I can get for selling a, this is the last I'm going to do, I promise. Then I'm going to switch over to ADRA stuff. Can you estimate what kind of margin I can get for selling a set of 7 polyhedral dice on Amazon? If the dice cost me, what was it? 86 cents before tariffs. 86 cents per unit before tariffs. Tariffs, shipping, warehousing, etc. I just want to know what it's going to say. We're selling a set of 7 polyhedral dice on Amazon if the dice set costs me 86 per unit before tariff, shipping, warehousing, fulfillment, etc. It's going to say no, we can't. It should say that. It should say, I'm sorry, I just don't have enough information. But if it doesn't, okay, while that's working, ADRA. So I met with my contact at ADRA. Very nice, creative, visionary type of person. And she noticed that ADRA should be the kind of organization that has games, and it does not have games. That's why we connected. And so because of the upheaval, because of the uncertainty at ADRA, I guess they had to fire a bunch of people. They lost a whole bunch of their funding when Trump and all the stuff in January, I think it was, the Doge, and everybody's like losing funding from the federal government. They lost a bunch of funding, so they had to cut a bunch of people. Well, Sharon and her job, those two survived together. And there's a new president that came in. There was a huge event this summer that they had to prep for. So all of this, led to things taking quite a bit of time. And also there's like, maybe some budgeting challenges that we're going to have to face. So the idea here with this meeting was that the two of us were going to meet with, I think it's the marketing, the VP for marketing, something like, what was his name? Actually, I wonder if, maybe I shouldn't do this on stream, but really cool guy, nice guy. I wondered if their leadership is our leadership. I wonder if he shows up. President-elect. So this person just came in. That's what I was saying. Okay, I want to say I want to say this is outdated because I think that's his job. Actually, this is my brother-in-law's father. Um, funny story, I guess. But no, I think that's this guy's the new guy's job. I'm pretty sure that's this guy. So I mean the guy we talked to. So he's one of the administrators. He has a lot of influence. He has say over some of the budgeting and the direction for marketing. So he's an important figure here in the process, a gatekeeper. That's what I described the meeting about yesterday, was meeting with a couple of gatekeepers. So anyway, I learned a little bit about him and his background. He worked at T-Mobile for a long time and did some pretty innovative things with that. What I liked is that he thought of himself, he called himself a disruptor, or that he's interested in disruption and innovation. And as you know, when I was doing research for this meeting, I could not find, let me put it that way, I couldn't find any a modern hobby board game, or what I would consider to be a game that would kind of fit within the current trends of games and game design. There was nothing that I could find on the market produced by a humanitarian organization, like one of the major, players in disaster relief or development, that kind of stuff. So, uh-oh. Okay. Lost you for a second. I don't know. The hotspot just kind of shut down for a second. Okay, but anyway, a really important aspect. Hey? I think we're okay. Okay, another really important aspect of the situation is that this guy's wife is apparently like a serious gamer, and so he like has to play games because she's a big gamer. I don't know what's happening with my connection here. So when I started kind of talking through some of the ideas, some of the important design goals that I have for this project and that kind of thing, I was able to list a few games, and he's familiar with them. Like maybe they have them at home. Like really, it sounds like they have a decent collection, or they have a fair amount of exposure, but because of his wife. And so what was great is I could see we had a lot of alignment on the type of game we were trying to design, and I was generally prepared to offer ideas that really that angled toward, that were certainly oriented in the same direction that he sees such a project going. So that was perfect. Actually, the game that I've been spending the most time on, ADRA HQ, I think this was actually really similar to what this I think works really well with his vision for what could be useful, and also Sharon's vision. So like one thing that we imagine is it's cool striking a balance in being sensitive to a couple of different audiences that could overlap. So what we're talking about is not just like, we don't want a material that just goes out to whoever is like a supporter of ADRA, or this is not just like a game that you would pack in with like a care package for families that are in need or something like that. Like, this would need to be a game that can be branded with ADRA's name or whatever, but that can carry ADRA's branding, but that could do well for a general audience. Like, this was the idea. Like, how do you get ADRA's name recognition? How do you raise ADRA's name recognition? Something like that. a brand recognition. And with what I'm thinking, I mean, if we come up with the right ideas and we really create a solid product that tests really well with different audiences, that looks really good. Like I told him, and I'm actually confident of this, I think we could get a game into Barnes and Noble. I don't see why we couldn't. In fact, for a major humanitarian organization to be producing quality games, like really engaging, kind of like, I don't want to say cutting edge, but like innovative design, or like creative, meaningful, thoughtful design, for this to be coming out of humanitarian organization, why would some like a business or an entity like a Barnes and Noble, maybe even eventually, I said we'll probably not Target, but maybe even eventually Target, why wouldn't Target pick that up? I mean, they might be concerned a little bit if they started doing research into ADRA. They say, okay, is this like just a church organization? But the thing is, ADRA's got such a track record of bringing relief, of offering services around the world, that hopefully they see this and they say, I mean, why would it be different from the Red Cross? The Red Cross is, associated with an actual denomination, isn't it? The Red Cross. And or the Red Crescent, right? Depending on where it is, apparently. So there's some precedent for these, really big organizations to have this kind of background, this cultural flavor. And so anyway, like, why wouldn't that kind of business or entity support? That'd be amazing, right? To have something that gets into retail at the level of a Barnes and Noble, and then eventually a Target. Yeah, selling thousands and thousands of copies sounds like a pretty good idea for me, and that's why it's really important to really get those notes right, to make it so that the game is simple enough for a very broad audience. It's got that energy of like, oh, what's going on over there at the table? Like, I want to go see what's happening. That's got that it is somewhat that you can mention ADRA, that you can talk about ADRA, but like, it's this acronym that nobody really knows what it means, but also it's not a obtrusive type of brand. It's just ADRA, these 4 letters. And then if we went with ADRA HQ, it just kind of, maybe it's just, I don't know, maybe it just has the kind of quality in the naming that it's just like, oh, okay, I don't know what that means, but the box looks cool. Oh, this sounds like a neat thing, like participating in, responding to disasters and stuff, like that sounds cool. And, delivering relief or helping groups around the world with the economic development. Okay, that sounds like a nice thing. Oh, and it's fun. Awesome. Let's try it out. So I think, yeah, as we just discussed those things, like, I think we all went away. So Nick, the guy that was in that position, he said by the end he was really encouraged with the idea, that I'll put together a little proposal, send it over to them, costs and stuff. I was glad that Sharon opened up the idea of like royalties, because I really do want to build streams of income so that I can do this full time. That's the whole point of doing the poker chips and the dice, and now doing my best to get a relationship to a product that sells well, that could be eventually evergreen, so that I can be sustained financially to the point that, like, this is what I do. I'm just really excited about that idea. So anyway, it was just really, really like, they were nice people. Like, we had a nice conversation. It was all positive and a little playful at times, and at the same time really clear, really focused. in our objectives, and yeah, I think there's a good chance we'll move forward with it. I just need to be really reasonable in how I formulate this pitch, this proposal. And he said, well, it's probably not going to be until it's probably going to be a 2026 project. The funny thing is, and this is what I told Sharon at the end. If we just borrow ideas from one of the games that I'm thinking, this was the 5-minute dungeon. If we just borrow ideas, I can have a working prototype in a day or two. And that's because it's not hard to make cards. I already did some of the groundwork, whether working with Gemini or even starting to lay out cards myself, so that we could have something playable and it's like super, super simple form. But for me, this is not quite enough. It's not quite enough just to borrow, from 5-minute dungeon. And anybody in the industry will say, especially if we start doing something like pursue placement in retail, everybody will look at this and just say, yeah, you guys just like ripped off 5-minute dungeon. So I'm not interested in that. I think I have one or two ideas that could keep us away from that claim. I mean, mechanically there will be similarity. No, there's no doubt about that. But I think we can add a couple things, twist a couple of little things, and get there with something that feels somewhat fresh and flavorful at the same time. I think we can do that. I really wonder what that connection problem was, because now I'm back to no drops at all. Yeah. Yeah, that was really weird. So, anyway, yeah, so that's what I want to spend a couple minutes on here toward the end is what would those twists look like? What is something that could be interesting to experiment with? So let's see, where was it? One of the now really all we're talking about is some mechanical twist, some adjustment, because I do think it's a pretty obvious thematic move to just say, we'll flip up a card, it shows these icons, the players have cards with those icons on them, they discard the cards, they satisfy the requirements on that event card, or whatever we want to call it. That is 5-minute dungeon. That's what 5-minute dungeon does. There are a couple other effects that can be written on cards, and those are pretty easily done too. We would probably do something similar. The other addition with 5-minute dungeon is that every player has these little character boards that give you a special ability or one-time effect or something like that. I haven't played in a while, but I know there's a special ability that might have to do with giving people cards or defeating a certain type of baddie or whatever it is. So everybody has their own special little thing. And I think we would do something similar in the sense that if it's up to 4-player game, then you have, there was the doctor, engineer, teacher, and something else, and first responder. So these 4 characters would also have, some special ability. They would certainly concentrate on, or in their decks, they would be separate decks. In their decks, they would have more of certain types of symbols than others. Kind of showing that this is what they're good at. This is the thing that they're ready to help with most. So there's that. So by itself, just if that was the thing, that is 5-minute dungeon. And that is, it might be kind of dishonest just to go with that. So I would want to do something a little more. Well, there's kind of more or different or both. So more would mean add a mechanic. right? Add something, add some feature, add a wrinkle. Different would be to just say, the card play works differently, or the when and how the cards flip up is different, something like that. So I think I have ideas for both of those things. One idea was, and this is the different idea, is that what if the recipe had to be dealt with in order? And that means the event card flips up, and now it lists 3 icons, but those icons need to come out in order. So maybe the first thing you want at this uh, event is water. The second thing, shelter. The third thing, medical supplies. So it's not enough just to get all 3, but you have to get those 3 in order. Okay, that's something. That's different. It's not that interesting. It's not especially interesting. I think the simplicity of just like, oh, it has the icons on it, discard cards. I think that's better. It's certainly cleaner. But anyway, that's different, that you have to, play those things in order. More, I've already talked about this. More would be that, there is the HQ, there's the headquarters for ADRA, and then you have a pawn in the HQ. I think what I would do is something like all of the cards that players have are different colors. And then the event types, let's say there are 4 different event types. And that are related to those 4, could be, corresponding to the 4 characters. Well, here's like the red location is disaster response. The green location is education. The yellow is whatever, right? So there's 4 of them. And a player needs to discard a card of that same color in order to move the pawn to that office, to that desk in the office of the HQ, so that that person in the HQ can coordinate the response. So that's the idea. Is first they have to move this pawn to a certain location on this card or tile or whatever, and after that, that's when players can start discarding cards with certain symbols on them. So it's kind of 2 phases, and you could not, maybe you need to discard the card. I needed to discard a blue card to move the pawn to the blue spot, but I also have the icons on this card, this blue card, that I need to satisfy the event. So unfortunately, it's the only blue card I have, so I'm going to do it anyway, and then hope to draw into blue, or use these other 2 cards that have the symbols, but it's just less efficient to meet the requirements of the event. So that would be more. That's a more aspect. Different, change how card play works. More, add a mechanic or 2. So that seems fine. There's some working ideas, not brilliant ideas, but something that would work. I just love what they did. I kind of want to reach out. I actually don't remember who designed who designed 5-Minute Dungeon. Because here's another thought. 5-Minute Chase, I haven't seen this. Is the same group? I don't think so. Anyway, 5-Minute. I'll just go to 5-Minute Dungeon. So Connor Reed. Interesting. Surprised to see these party games here. So one thing to do would be to reach out to Connor and just see like what would be reasonable to borrow, or maybe Connor has, you know, some ideas. I'm not too sure, but I don't think I've seen this guy active in any of the. I'm just gonna go see. I want to see if he's in Board Game Design Lab. Check it out. Connor Reed, you might be in here. You never know. Is it IED? No, definitely EID. Okay, so it looks like there is no Connor Reed here. Why did this show up? Interesting. Connor Reed? Yeah, I don't know why. Well, anyway, Connor Reed. Yeah, I'm sure there are other possible things. Like there could be a reason to arrange the cards in a way. There could be something going on with events. Yeah, you know, it could be that multiple events pop up at a time. Um, I think, yeah, this is something that I just need to get prototyped and tested as soon as possible, and just see if see if the energy around the game idea is good. I can suddenly imagine like, yeah, a bunch of different possibilities. I'm guessing that this idea of the HQ will throw off the flow of the game, like very, very much. Like just this interruption of, oh wait, can't play any cards yet. Let me move the guy first. Pick up your card. You know, like we got to do this first. I think that could be pretty deflating to continually like have to remember to move this thing around. You know what could work though is that let's say that tile's sitting in the center of the play area, and you play an event out. I'm just thinking of something already. I'm thinking of something that makes it more intuitive to care where that pawn is. So not that it's just hang on, stop the flow of the game. Let me move the pawn real quick. Okay, continue the fun part. Like so that it's more integrated, so that it's more natural to think about the pawn. That will be, I think, one of the biggest puzzles when it comes to incorporating this particular idea. Anyway, really excited about that. I think in my last few minutes, I want to look at South Shore Vibes. My friend Aaron, who came and did some playtesting for us this last week, he sent some ideas over, and I just wanted to have a quick look at those. Have a quick look at those. And so some really interesting stuff here. First of all, there was the feedback. I didn't get to it. I think I was gonna work on it yesterday, except for I had the meeting. He had some feedback about like just the busyness on the sheet, how small everything was, and how not cool that was. So I think just like giving the whole thing a little more surface area, printing a second sheet is a good idea for some of the more information type of stuff that would be on a player aid maybe. So there was that, but then he has some other ideas that I thought were kind of interesting. He said hexes would be easier for him. And I haven't thought about this in a while, but I could look into what hex-based movement would be like. I'm not sure I'm really excited about that idea. Like, why is that necessary? It could be fine. I want to say that the last surfing game I saw was very much a simulation, and that designer used hexes. So it might be fine to switch to hexes. I just haven't looked at it. And then this other suggestion, which was that maybe Shaka could be victory points. So Shakas give you flexibility in playing the mini games and being on the wave because they either let you can spend them to re-roll a die, you can spend them to set a die to a particular face, you can spend them to move a little further along the wave than you normally can. So it's possible there that that there'd be more tension if you're spending points to do it. That's not a bad idea. I actually really like that problem in a game when points are actually a currency that you can spend. It's very, very tense, right? Like the stakes are definitely higher. Why am I interested in this separate currency? Maybe I don't need to be. There was a time when you could do things to earn, well, the currency was not currency, but the victory points were actually meant to represent rapport with Uncle Wallace. Well, Uncle Wallace is not necessarily in this multiplayer game. So, I think he would be in a two-player game. But, oh, you know what just came to mind? I got a Kickstarter that I wanted to show you. I think I posted about it, but I'll be right back. Okay, maybe I'll start with this. Maybe I'll start with this tomorrow. But I got this from Zach and Lily of Zilly Creative Works. This is Escape Master. I actually took it over to Other Realms and Armchair last night. I did get it played outside of Armchair with a couple other gamers. You know what? I was surprised. Even with these gamer guys. I mean, we had some rules questions and stuff, and maybe it would have been nice. A little some tweaks to the rule book could have been helpful, but we actually had a pretty fun time with it. Like it was pretty cool. It's a speed game. It feels it's a blend of Dutch Blitz and Speed. If you've played both of those games. So you're building piles out in the central play area. With Dutch Blitz, you just stack numbers on top of each other in ascending order. So you have to start with a 1 and then you get to a 10. In this case, with Escape Master, it uses that structure where you can play something above or below. So that's different from Dutch Blitz. But for the fact that you can start new piles, that's different from Speed. I think that's kind of cool. Almost a standard deck of cards. It's like 4 suits. There's 6 suits of 13 cards, but they do go from 1 to K. I forget what he calls the K, but it very much seems that this was built on a standard deck of playing cards. Fine, fair enough. They added some characters with some asymmetric abilities. We didn't get to that level of that type of play. just got a text about dinner and Bible study tonight. Anyway, I was really pleased. I mean, we did play in the to the medium level of difficulty, which meant that you can play like pairs, combos of cards that could slow your thinking down a little bit. They're not super necessary. And we added the trap and escape cards and a dead end. So you kind of attack each other a little bit, and it's just kind of light fun, and really that speed aspect just gets crazy. So we really enjoyed that, and I was just really happy that Zach, was successful in fulfilling his product, and this is a dream come true. It's a crazy big deal to actually make a game and fulfill it. Like, he got it kickstarted, so he did the whole crowdfunding thing, and anyway, just really great. Just really excited about that happening, and actually having a copy. He gave me 2 extra copies. That's what I forgot. I unboxed it yesterday, so on my Instagram I show the unboxing. I think I will I'll try to remember to revisit this when I stream tomorrow, just to kind of highlight it a little bit more. I feel a little sad tagging it on here at the end. I'm already over my hour. But that's just a cool thing to actually have something material in this material world that you built, that you put a lot of time and energy into. It's something to be really proud of. So anyway, great job, Zach. Excited for you. And I think, I don't know why that just came to mind, but just wrapping up some ideas here with South Shore Vibes. I think I will spend a little time on it here after the stream. But okay, so hexes will be something to check out. Shakas for victory points. It reduces the need. I mean, it could be that victory points are redundant. It totally could be. Right now, I use losing victory points as a disincentive for surfing when it's a risk. So like when you don't have as many, when you start running low on dice, you might say, I probably shouldn't surf because I'm likely to lose victory points. So that's something. It doesn't have to be like that. It could really clean things up if the shakas and the victory points were the same. It could. In that case, it would destroy one of the mini games, because in that, the mini game would literally just be earning points so that you have more points. Like, you might not want to spend them because they are points. So anyway, it would eliminate a mini game. Maybe that's fine, but I just like that mini game. It's not that, maybe it's not that interesting actually. What if I get rid of it and then I'd only have 2? Fishing is also not that interesting. Are these mini games just not something to keep around? I just wanted a way to upgrade so it felt a little bit like engine building, but maybe this is not working that well. But here's an idea spawned from Aaron's ideas. So I'm actually curious about whether you could choose to keep surfing. Let's say you keep surfing. It's either you're doing mini games or surfing, and that those 2 things could be happening at the same time. So let's say we all start the game, we're all playing mini games, and we all go surfing. Everybody takes a wave. Maybe you could just play mini games indefinitely and just like build up until you're ready to take waves. That sounds sad to me, but it would make this possible. Oh no, you couldn't. Once you use a die in a mini game, that mini game's locked out. So you would have to surf in order to refresh the mini games. Okay, so that works. That's not a problem. But okay, so we all do the mini games, we all go surfing, and then I decide to surf another wave. You decide that you're going to go play the mini games. Well, so I surf a wave, you do your mini games. Well, now it's time for me to go back in and do mini games, and you think, well, now I need to surf. So we would be out of sync. And actually, it's very unlikely. Well, this creates some issues. One is we'll be out of sync, so that the type of interaction that is supposed to be interesting about the game would probably be absent. And it could be that always playing mini games and surfing will take a different amount of time, so you just sort of have to wait around and see when everybody finishes up. It could be that whenever you surf, even if you don't have opponents out there with you, you do have to roll for Kenna and Uncle Wallace, and in that case, that doesn't sound that cool because that's going to add time. And also, it's gonna you would need to make sure that everybody knows exactly how to run those two dice or to run that system. I don't like that idea. Later on in the game, you are more likely to take more waves, so eventually you would sync up again. So I don't think it's like once you get out of sync, like if somebody really is pushing it to surf, and now they're always going to be every other. I don't think it's like that. But it just doesn't sound as... I like the coordinated. I like everybody kind of being on the same schedule. I feel like that's nice. But you really should be able to stay out and surf by yourself. I just don't know how it would make that mechanically viable. Where what is everybody else doing? They're viable in the flow of the game. What are the other players? They're just watching. That's not that cool. You're surfing by yourself, so it's literally just like if I roll well, then I get everything I want. If I don't roll well, then that's too bad for me. It just comes down to that one roll and solving the puzzle on the wave. Like that's not that cool. So I almost think whenever a player is surfing and they don't, they don't meet some minimum number of opponents also on the wave, then you probably need to roll for Kenna and Uncle Wallace, or Uncle Wallace by himself if there are two people on the wave, that kind of thing. Things to experiment with. I was just happy to revisit the game based on this feedback. I think I'll work on that for a little bit after here. Anyway, but for now, I think that's it for me. Thanks so much for joining. Hopefully the little interruptions midstream were not that big of an issue. Yeah, okay. I'm looking forward to more work tomorrow. Oh, the school year is starting, so I am starting to get calls even. I got one today. I didn't get a text from Jill, which means it sounds like the system it found its recruit. So anyway, that's pretty wild. Here we are, the school year for 2025-2026. But yeah, I hope to continue these things. I was up at about 5 this morning, and that would be more than enough time to fit in a stream, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway, again, that's it for me. I will see you soon.